not on the original recording, I believe. There it goes, the David Jacobs Memorial Drinks Trolley. What have you grabbed, Sister Susie, please?
I've grabbed a Czech lager, Pilsner Arkel, which is a very, very tasty one. And, maybe just a half, though, if you've overindulged over the weekend.
Just a half, and it's only Tuesday.
Yes.
Tuesday on the way. But today's confession comes from Thelma. Father Simon and the Merciful Collective, I would like to beg forgiveness for an incident that took place over 40 years ago. It was late 70s, Blondie topped the charts, JR had not yet been shot, and the Space Hopper was the principal mode of transport for the under-10s.
Yeah.
My best friend, let's call her Louise, and I were carefree 9-year-olds at St Custard's Junior School, where we were pretty much model pupils. We worked hard most of the time and were nauseatingly never in trouble, a fact which will become significant later on. School toilets are central to our story. Thankfully, no PG certificate required here. They were typical of the time, with loo roll, the unhelpful consistency of tracing paper, and cubicle doors with a foot of clearance at the bottom, affording little privacy to the occupant. Different times, Father Simon. Whilst wandering past the girls' loos before the first lesson, I remarked to Louise that wouldn't it be hilarious if all the cubicle doors were locked so that no one could get in and use them? I was somewhat frustrated by my Goody Two-Shoes reputation. Why couldn't we cause some trouble for once? To my delight, Louise agreed, and without thought of safety, or indeed health, it was after all the 70s, we crawled under every door, locking them from the inside and then crawling out again.
Wow.
Mischievous deed accomplished, we sped to the first lesson, chortling merrily at our wizard wheeze. The school morning continued uneventfully, and I had all but forgotten our prank. Therefore came as a surprise when the entire female population of the school was summoned to the main hall after break. What could possibly be wrong, I wondered? Had the school goldfish escaped? Had the caretaker's Austin Allegra been tampered with again? Well, Grimes, the headmaster, his face like thunder, addressed the assembled company. I'd like to say he had a broad West Country accent, but he didn't, so you're off the hook.
Oh, really?
Some gal, he roared. Yeah, that kind of...
Oh, he had that accent again,
Some gal... His face was scarlet with rage. Some gal, he started again, has sabotaged the gals' toilets by locking all the doors. Caused by their wickedness and chaos and confusion... And there's a lot of distress being caused this break time. My stomach lurched as I trembled at the thought of being found out. I shakily joined in with the tut-tutting of my classmates, putting my best "who could have done that?" kind of dreadful thing expression on my face.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If the perpetrator does not declare themselves immediately, said Grimes, all the gals will be kept in at lunchtime. But now he's starting to sound like...
He's gone into Derek Nimmo.
Yes.
Wow.
Anyway, the usual form on these occasions is, of course, to keep silent. And so it was that a hush descended over the hall. It was obvious no one was going to own up, and everyone had resigned themselves to a detention. Suddenly, I saw my pal Louise raise her hand. My jaw dropped in horror. She was going to confess our guilt to the entire school. My heart was in my mouth as she started to speak. Please, sir, said Louise, I saw Molesworth and Peason lurking around the girls' toilet this morning. It must have been them. I was utterly flabbergasted. The complete gall to place the blame on two other students and boys as well.
Oh.
Stunned into silence, I simply nodded in agreement. Yes, it was clearly them. Now, Molesworth and Peason possessed the enviable reputation of the naughtiest boys in the school. Wherever there was trouble, they were not far away. Implicating them was an audacious move, but coming from pupils with an unblemished record, well, it had a ring of truth to it, and the headmaster bought it for certain. The assembled girls were ordered back to class, all thoughts of mass detention forgotten. We had got away with it. Not so much the hapless Molesworth and Peason, who were marched to the headmaster's study, where their protestations of innocence no doubt fell on deaf ears. History does not relate the nature of their punishment. However, it was doubtless of its time and against all current guidelines.
Yes, I'd have thought so.
And also undeserved in this case.
Yeah.
So I seek forgiveness, not from the girls temporarily denied access to the toilets. It would have been the work of a moment to crawl under the doors and unlock them again, instead of going on whinging to the teachers. But I do beg forgiveness from the unlucky Molesworth and Peason, who were wrongfully accused of a crime they did not commit. Thank you. I can only Orchestra a little late there.
Yeah.
I can only hope it didn't result in a cynical and twisted view of humankind at such a formative age and a lasting effect on their psyches. Father Simon, I throw myself on your mercy and that of the collective, and of course on the listening audience. Let's just see where we go. Beautiful fade.
I thought so.
That actually was rather fine.
It was.
Fatboy Slim could not have done any better.
No, he didn't.
Sister Susie, live from the pub.
Well, Thelma, I feel like it wasn't you that gave the names of the guys, of the naughty boys. That was Louise, and you had nothing to do with that. So I feel like you maybe don't need forgiveness for that. However, I don't think I can forgive you for locking the toilets in the first place. If I desperately needed to go to the loo and they were all locked, I'm sorry, I probably wouldn't have thought about crawling back under them. And I just think that that's just unforgivable, locking all of the doors.
Yes.
So therefore, for that reason, I can't forgive you.
I'm out for that reason. I don't know where
It's
that
never
came
been
from.
done before.
No, brother from another gutter.
I mean, you've got to applaud Louisa's quick thinking, haven't you? Just being able to come up with Molesworth and the other one as Peas and Chips. Who's come up with this off the top of her head? Well done to Louise for that. And frankly, if they hadn't done that, they'd probably done something else. So it was just coming to them. Also, I'm intrigued by someone needs to own up to this right now, or else. That never works. It must never. I'd love to hear from a teacher who tells me that has ever worked, because my instinct is it has never worked, and therefore you're forgiven.
So.